Hi everyone, welcome to Module 6, which is the end of your 5.5-week course. So because this week is shortened, and by shortened I mean everything ends Tuesday by midnight, what I would tell you is this week is going to be a shorter week, not only in course content and course content review, but also in like our live lecture and things of that nature. So this week we are only looking at one chapter to end us out and round us out, and that chapter is going to be chapter 6. So chapter 6 is looking at the digestive system. The digestive system is also called the gastrointestinal system, and it consists of a digestive tube called the GI tract or the alimentary canal. It consists of several accessory organs that will help break down food, prepare food for absorption, and eliminate waste. But it also has the liver, gallbladder, and pancreas to help digest food. The GI tract extends from the mouth to the anus. So let's go ahead and look at each of those. First thing up that we have is the mouth. The process of digestion does begin in the mouth, or in the other name that we call it is the oral cavity. It's formed from the cheeks, lips, teeth, and tongue, as well as the hard and soft palates. The oral cavity has 3 parts of salivary glands that secrete saliva. The saliva is an important part because it helps to contain digestive enzymes that break down or begin the chemical breakdown of food. While we are discussing the oral cavity, let's discuss the parts that form this. So the first one is teeth, and teeth play an important role in the initial stages of digestion. This is due to the fact that the teeth mechanically break down your food into smaller pieces as they mix with saliva. Teeth are covered in an enamel, and beneath that is dentin. The teeth are embedded in the gums, which is the soft, pink, fleshy tissue. The tongue assists with the chewing process by manipulating the bolus of food during chewing and moving it to the back of the mouth to be swallowed. The tongue also helps with speech production and taste. There are 4 basic taste sensations registered in the taste buds on the tongue surface. They are sour, sweet, salty, and bitter. The hard and soft palates are 2 structures forming the roof of the mouth. The hard palate is the anterior or front portion, and the soft palate is the posterior or back portion. So now that we have started this discussion on digestion, we need to move past the mouth, and that's going to lead us into the pharynx, esophagus, and stomach. The tongue will push your food into the pharynx, which is also called the throat. The pharynx is a funnel shaped and serves as a passageway for the respiratory and GI systems. The pharynx also does help with speech sounds. The lowest part of the pharynx divides into 2 tubes called the trachea, which will lead to the lungs, and the esophagus that will lead to the stomach. The esophagus has a small flap of cartilage called the epiglottis, and it will fold back to cover the trachea during swallowing so that it does not go into the lungs. But it also does this to force food to enter the esophagus. From the esophagus comes the stomach, and the stomach is a sac-like structure located in the LUQ, or left upper quadrant. The stomach serves as a food reservoir that continues to mechanically and chemically break down and digest. The stomach extends to the first part of the small intestine, which is called the duodenum. The body of the stomach is the large central part. The fundus is the upper portion of the stomach, and these 2 areas are mostly storage. Most of the digestion will take place in the funnel-shaped part called the pylorus. The food will be propelled through the entire GI tract through a process called peristalsis, which is a coordinated and rhythmic muscle contraction. From the stomach, we now lead into the small intestine. The small intestine is a coiled 20-foot-long tube that begins at the pyloric sphincter and ends at the large intestine. Digestion is completed in the small intestine, and this happens with the help of enzymes and secretions from the pancreas and the liver. Any undigested food or unabsorbed food is passed into the large intestine and eventually excreted from the body. The small intestine has three parts: the duodenum, which is the uppermost part of it, and it's about 10 inches long; the jejunum, which is about 8 feet long; and the ileum, which is about 12 feet long. From the small intestine, we lead into the large intestine. The large intestine is about 5 feet long, and it begins at the end of the ileum and extends to the anus. In the large intestine, no digestion will take place. It has only the mucus secretions from the colon, which help to lubricate fecal matters and materials so it can be passed from the body. The large intestine also has three main parts. The first part is called the cecum. This is the first 2 to 3 inches, and it is a small pouch that hangs over the inferior to the ileocecal valve. This will lead into your appendix. The second part is called the colon. The colon has the function of absorbing water and minerals and eliminating any undigested materials. The colon is divided into either the ascending, transverse, descending, or sigmoid portions. The ascending colon extends from the cecum to the lower border of the liver. The colon continues across the abdomen to the left side to make the transverse colon. This will curve beneath the spleen. The transverse colon will turn downward to form the descending colon, and the descending colon continues until it forms the sigmoid colon and the rectum. So then the third part of the large intestine is the rectum, and the rectum is what helps to terminate and eliminate waste, and it terminates at the anus. So at this point, we've now discussed the entire GI tract. Let's discuss some of those accessory organs and of the digestive system. Although the gallbladder, liver, and pancreas lie outside of the GI tract, they do play a very vital role in the proper digestion and absorption of nutrients. The first one we have is the liver. The liver is the largest portion of the largest glandular organ in the body, and it weighs about 3 to 4 pounds. It is located beneath the diaphragm in the right upper quadrant and the left upper quadrant. It performs many vital functions, and it ceases to function, death will occur. Some of the functions will include producing bile, which helps to fight off or digest fat. It removes glucose or sugar from the blood, and it changes it to glycogen, which is a starch, which can be used later. It stores vitamins like B12, A, D, E, and K. It destroys toxic products to make them less harmful compounds. It maintains normal glucose levels in the blood, and it destroys old red blood cells and releases bilirubin. The next one we have is the pancreas. This is an elongated, semi-flattened organ that lies posterior and slightly inferior to the stomach. It performs both exocrine and endocrine functions. The endocrine functions are to release insulin into the bloodstream to maintain normal blood glucose levels, and exocrine functions is to produce digestive enzymes that pass into the duodenum through the pancreatic duct. The pancreas itself will produce enzymes like trypsin, to help digest proteins, but it produces amylase to digest starch, and it produces lipase to digest triglycerides. The last one we have is the gallbladder. This is a sac-like structure on the inferior surface of the liver and is a storage area for bile, which is produced by the liver. When bile is needed for digestion, the gallbladder releases the bile into the duodenum through the common bile duct. Bile is also drained from the liver through the left and right hepatic ducts. Bile production is stimulated by hormone secretions, which are produced in the duodenum as soon as food enters the small intestine. Without bile, fat digestion is not possible. So that's going to wrap up our discussion of the topics for Chapter 6. Here are some of the common word parts that you are going to see. First one we have is abdomino, ano, bucco, coli, cholecysto, colino, duodeno, entero, gastro, and gingiva. We have two suffixes here, emesis and esophageo or esophageal. Continuing on, we have word parts glosso or glotto, hepat or hepatic, ilio, jejuneo, labio, laparo, lingua or linguo, oro, and procto. And then we have the suffixes pepsia, phage or phagia, and phago. And one more round of those, we have the final word parts of recto, salo, stigmato, stoma, or stomato. Now, this chapter again does go on to discuss some of the common disorders and pathology related to the digestive system. This will include discussions on PUD or peptic ulcer disease, ulcerative colitis, hernias, intestinal obstructions, hemorrhoids, diverticulitis, and it also talks about colorectal cancers. So now, what does the end of your week look like, or end of this term look like? So first and foremost, you will have no discussion board, so that's always a plus. Everyone loves when discussion boards are done. But you do have a course project, and your course project is on one patient, and you're looking at their full medical record. So that patient is Nancy Jackson Davis. You want to read through her entire full medical record and then answer the questions that are on that worksheet, just like you've done for all other course projects. The difference here is that instead of being due on Sunday, you have to have everything in by Tuesday at midnight. Again, check your course calendar for that date and time when everything does need to be completed. You will also have a final exam this week. Your final exam is 40 multiple choice questions in length. You will have 40 minutes to complete the exam, and you have 2 opportunities to complete the exam. The best score will count towards your grade. And then lastly, we have our final live classroom. And so with that, you'll want to make sure that you do either watch the recording or you attend it live. I will be holding that on Monday this week because the course does end on Tuesday. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please make sure that you reach out to me. Otherwise, it has been a pleasure to be part of your journey as you start the process of Rasmussen University and all of your individual programs. I wish you all the best, and hopefully I get to see you along the way. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.